Imagine harboring a dream so grand, so seemingly unattainable, that you hesitate to share it with anyone. It's a desire that consumes you, yet feels reserved for the fortunate few, those with the right connections or simply in the right place at the right time. We've all heard the phrase, "Ask the universe," countless times. But what does that truly mean? Do we close our eyes, jot it down on paper, visualize it until it aches, or recite positive affirmations in front of a mirror? Or is there something more, something seldom discussed? Here's an unspoken truth. Asking the universe isn't what you think, and in some cases, it can backfire severely. It all begins with intention, not merely wanting something, but a profound, chest-tightening resolve that keeps you awake at night. This intention isn't just a wish. It's a silent commitment to yourself. This is the first step to being heard by the universe. If there's an invisible web that responds, it doesn't cater to whims. It resonates with the vibration you emit when you're truly determined. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't truly know what they want. They think they do. They say it, write it down, repeat it like parrots during guided meditations. But they don't feel it, live it, or are willing to pay the price. If such a connection exists, the universe doesn't respond to noise. It responds to clarity. When you're unclear, the world mirrors that confusion. You say you want love but remain entangled in disrespectful relationships. You desire wealth but constantly lament about expenses. You seek peace but thrive on drama, news conflicts, and complaints. It's like ordering food without deciding what you want. The waiter waits, and so do you, ultimately receiving anything or nothing at all. Cadena SCR. +3. El Pace. +3. El Pace. +3. Asking the universe starts with organizing your mind. Not your environment or words, but your mind. Know what you want, why you want it, and what you're willing to let go of to achieve it. Because it won't be handed to you. It's not magic, nor is it immediate. But it's real if you understand how it works. Consider a real story. A woman, let's call her Carla, wrote daily for 100 days about what she wanted to manifest. A house with a garden, a job where she felt free, and to live without fear. She wrote in the present tense, with emotion, often crying as she did so. She shared it with no one, seeking neither validation nor approval, only desiring it to happen. And it did, 6 months later, but not as she expected. She lost her job, ended her relationship, and had to move in with a friend who happened to have a house with a garden. From there, she rebuilt her life and found the job she now loves. The universe doesn't grant your desires in the way you envision. It provides what you need to become the person capable of sustaining what you've asked for. This often means taking everything away first because there's no room for the new if you don't release the old. This is the part no one tells you, that asking the universe can turn your life upside down. The process of manifesting something is a transformation, and believe me, it's not comfortable. Now, an uncomfortable question. Are you willing to lose everything to gain everything? Are you prepared to walk through the fire? Because if not, you're not ready to truly ask, and the universe knows it. The next key is alignment. It's not just about positive thinking or repeating empty phrases. It's about living as if what you want is already in motion. Not as if you already have it, but as if you're already on the path, as if your identity is evolving toward that destination. If you want to ask, but your entire life vibrates in the opposite direction, you're sending mixed signals. Desiring change while clinging to the familiar is like accelerating a car while pressing the brake. You make noise, don't move, and wear yourself out. El Pace. +4. El Pace. +4. El Pace. +4. This introduces an important concept: coherence. Are you living in a way that's consistent with what you're asking for? If you seek health, How do you care for your body? If you desire abundance, how do you speak about money? If you want love, how do you talk to yourself? Everything you do sends a message. It's not that there's a universe with an inbox reading your thoughts, but there's an invisible law, the law of vibration. You attract what you are, not what you desire. And being sometimes hurts because it involves choosing, and often it means choosing the difficult path. And you know what's most curious? When you do this, when you align with that energy, things start to change. Not spectacularly, but subtly. You begin to meet people who seem like signs. Small, almost hidden opportunities appear, ideas emerge. And if you dare to follow them, even if they don't make sense at first, you realize they were pieces of something much bigger. But if you ignore them, if you decide that's not what I asked for, then everything stops. Because the universe acts in response. It doesn't serve everything chewed up. It offers paths, but you decide whether to walk them or not. Here comes the third point. Action. You can't sit around waiting while watching Netflix. Signs come when you move, when you act, when you do your part. Action isn't the opposite of faith. It's its proof. Asking is just the beginning. The hard part is maintaining the energy, trusting when everything seems to go the other way, continuing when everything seems lost. But that's where magic happens. In blindness, uncertainty, the dark night of the soul. Because it's right there where you change, and once you change, everything changes. There's a moment in every process of asking the universe that no one can stand. The silence. There's a moment in every process of asking the universe that no one can stand. The silence. That strange emptiness between what you've asked for and what's starting to shift. That phase where everything feels still. No signs. No clues. Just you and your thoughts echoing around your mind like a scream in a cave. And that's where most people give up. They believe it didn't work. That it was a waste of time. That they picked the wrong method. That they don't have the gift. But that's not the truth. The truth is, they're addicted to instant gratification. To asking and immediately receiving. To things arriving without delay. But when you ask the universe, you're not using Amazon. You're activating an inner code that demands patience, presence, and perseverance. That silence. It's not punishment. It's the soil being turned. It's the tense calm before the thunder. It's the most sacred, and also the most dangerous, moment. Because if you get desperate, if you doubt, if you start sending conflicting signals, what was about to be born fades. And it's not because the universe is cruel. It's because you are the source. Your faith is the fuel. And when that faith burns out, the whole system shuts down. Want a brutal example? A man named Ivan spent years asking to dedicate himself to art. He wrote about it, visualized it, felt it, and then one day, he lost his job. But instead of seeing it as an opportunity, he panicked. He took the first job he could find, an office that drained him, but paid on time. Guess what? Right after signing the contract, a friend of his offered him a fully paid residency at an art center abroad. His dream. Everything he wanted. But Ivan wasn't ready. He was too scared. He missed it. The universe did respond. But he wasn't there to receive it. You see now. Sometimes it's not just about asking right. It's about staying open, even when the answer doesn't look like what you expected. And that brings us to a critical point. Detachment. This is, without a doubt, the most misunderstood concept of all. People think detachment means not caring about the outcome. Like saying, well, if it happens, cool. If not, whatever. But that's not detachment. That's resignation in disguise. True detachment is wanting something deeply, intensely, but without making your identity dependent on it. It's saying, I want this. I feel it. I vibrate with it. But if it doesn't come, I'll keep walking anyway, because I already am the person who deserves it. That's the key. Detachment is not coldness. It's trust. It's not chasing what you want with desperation. It's becoming a magnet. Becoming the place where that desire feels at home. When you chase, you push it away. When you become, you draw it in. And that requires a deep shift, not in your wish list, but in your self-concept. Because you don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. And that, my friend, is the most powerful and the most dangerous core of all this. Many people ask the universe from a place of lack, from their wounds, from fear. And what comes to them is not what they asked for, but what they were vibrating with. More lack, more wounds, more fear. Because energy doesn't move through words. It moves through truth. Let me tell you something not everyone's ready to hear. If you don't heal your roots, your manifestations will grow twisted. It doesn't matter how many affirmations you repeat, how many rituals you do. If what you're asking for comes from emptiness, the universe will echo back, more emptiness. That's why some people finally get what they wanted and can't hold on to it. Because they weren't prepared. Because they didn't heal. Because they thought manifesting was about getting, not transforming. And this, right here, is where the real game begins. Because this isn't a passive act. Asking the universe is a game of deep alignment. And in that game, every emotion, every thought, every decision matters. Not because there's a divine judge in the sky watching your every move, but because everything you do carries a frequency. And that frequency builds your reality. Have you noticed some people seem to always be lucky? Everything works out for them. They stumble into opportunities. They receive gifts. They experience magical coincidences. Do you know why? Because they vibrate from abundance. They believe the world is full of blessings for them, and the world proves them right. And then there are others who are constantly fighting with life. Everything is hard. Everything costs. Nothing flows. Because they vibrate from scarcity. They believe everything is a struggle, and the world gives them more struggle. It's not magic. It's energetic coherence. What you deeply believe is what you inevitably live. And if you want to change your life, you need to change that. You need to reprogram yourself. Break free from the old stories you've been told. Stop saying, I can't, or this isn't for me, or it's too late. Because while you keep saying that, the universe hears that and confirms it. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you believe. So if you truly want to ask for something, you have to believe that it's possible, that it's yours, that it's on its way. And then, you must live as if that were true. Even when you can't see it yet. Even when everything seems to go against you. Even when your knees shake. That's faith. That's power. That's real alchemy. And there's something else no one tells you. Sometimes what you ask for does arrive, but it comes with conditions. Because every unprepared blessing turns into a curse. The love of your life can show up when you don't love yourself, and you'll destroy it. The money you dreamed of can come when you don't know how to manage it, and you'll lose it. Fame can arrive when your ego isn't ready, and it'll consume you. Asking the universe is dangerous if you're not prepared. It's like opening a door that you can't close again. That's why you have to ask with wisdom, maturity, and clear intention. Not from impulsive desire, but from deep vision. Are you willing to sustain what you're asking for? Are you ready to accept the consequences? Because the universe doesn't give you things. It gives you processes, challenges, paths. And you decide whether to walk them or not. Maybe the hardest truth to understand about asking the universe is this. You're not actually negotiating with some external force. You're negotiating with yourself, with your subconscious, with your deepest, most hidden self. And that is far more powerful, far more unpredictable, and far more demanding than anything outside of you. Because when you make a deep request, you start an inner conversation between what you truly desire and what you believe you deserve. And here's the tricky part. That conversation is often full of interference, contradictions, and resistance. Because very rarely does what you say you want match what you feel worthy of receiving. Want another real story? A tough one, but enlightening? Let me tell you another real story. One that's hard, but powerful. Andrea wanted nothing more than to have a loving, healthy relationship. She was tired of people who hurt her, abandoned her, or didn't value who she truly was. She would spend hours visualizing that relationship, feeling in her chest what it would be like to experience that kind of love. She repeated affirmations, she meditated, she prayed. But Andrea had a deep, unhealed wound. She didn't feel worthy. She had never truly felt loved. In her childhood, she had always had to fight for attention, affection, and approval. So what happened? When someone finally showed up, someone who perfectly matched what she had asked for, Andrea rejected him. Unconsciously, she looked for hidden signs of rejection. She created drama out of nowhere. She mistrusted him for no reason. And in the end, the relationship fell apart. Andrea blamed the universe. She blamed fate. She blamed her bad luck. But it wasn't bad luck, it was self-sabotage. Because asking something from the universe without addressing your inner wounds is like trying to fill a broken cup. You can pour in all the water in the world, but it will never fill. The universe is not your enemy, nor is it your best friend. It's a neutral mirror of what's inside you. If you carry wounds, you'll manifest from pain. If you carry love, you'll manifest from wholeness. That's why the real work of asking the universe is not about repeating affirmations in front of the mirror. It's about diving into your deepest self and facing what you fear most. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it means confronting truths you might not want to admit. But if you really want to change your life, there's no other way. So what do you actually have to do when you ask for something? Step 1. Recognize clearly what it is you want. Step 2. Ask yourself why you want it. And step 3, the hardest one, investigate honestly why you don't have it yet. That last step, it requires brutal honesty. It requires looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm the one blocking this. I'm the one not allowing myself to receive. I'm the one still clinging to old patterns. And you can't manifest something new while holding on to the old. The universe can't fill your hands if they're still clinging to what no longer serves you. Think of it like cleaning out your closet. First, you need to remove everything that no longer fits. You need to create space. You need to decide what to keep and what to throw out. Only then is there room for something new. And here's another truth no one wants to hear. The bigger your desire, the deeper the clearing. If you ask for something small, the changes will be superficial. But if you ask for something big, get ready for a complete revolution. Because what the universe does is not grant wishes, It helps you become the person capable of holding them. And that means breaking, releasing, surrendering, and rebuilding yourself from the ground up. But you shouldn't fear this. On the contrary, you should celebrate it. Because it means your request is so powerful, it demands that you evolve into a higher version of yourself. Let me tell you another powerful story about this. Rodrigo dreamed of financial freedom. He had a crystal clear vision of how much money he wanted to make, how he wanted to live, and what kind of work he wanted to do. He could see it perfectly in his mind. But in reality, Rodrigo was stuck in a job he hated. A job that drained his energy every single day. Every time a new opportunity came up, something different, something with potential, he clung to the safety of his current job. He was afraid of failing, afraid of losing stability. The result? Years passed, and his life stayed exactly the same. Until one day, fed up with his situation, Rodrigo finally jumped. He quit, without having anything secured. People called him crazy. Even he thought he was losing his mind. But guess what? Just a few weeks later, he received a completely unexpected offer. A spot in a project that not only multiplied his income, but filled him with meaning and passion. So what happened? By completely letting go of his attachment to the outcome, he instantly activated what he had been blocking for years. Sometimes, what scares you the most is exactly what you need to do to accelerate your manifestation. Because the universe does not reward fear. It rewards courage. It rewards decision. It rewards action aligned with absolute faith. And here's a vital warning. If you truly decide to ask the universe for something important, prepare to be tested. Because the tests will come. In the form of temptations. In the form of fear. In the form of uncertainty, rejection, or doubt. The universe will want to know, are you really committed? And the only way it can know is by taking you to your edge. But that test, it's not cruelty. It's initiation. Because only after you've made it through the storm can you handle the sunlight on the other side. And here's something even fewer people are willing to admit. Every successful manifestation involves the death of your old identity. Because bringing something new into your life means letting go of who you were before you received it. And that grief hurts more than most people expect. Sometimes we're not ready to let go of who we've been, even when we desperately want something new. So asking the universe isn't just a spiritual request. It's a declaration of war against your former self. It's saying, I'm willing to let the old me die to become who I need to be. And that, my friend, is the most powerful act of courage there is. If you're ready to live that, then you're ready to truly play this game. Let's talk now about a key moment almost no one prepares for. The final test. Because asking the universe for something is never a straight line toward your desire. It's never as simple as asking and receiving. Right before your manifestation completes, right when you think you're about to reach your goal, something happens. A test shows up. A kind of final exam designed to see if you've truly learned the lesson you need to sustain what you've asked for. And believe me, this final test is the hardest one. Why? Because it usually shows up as the one thing you're most afraid to lose or face. If you asked for love, someone almost perfect might appear, but they'll push your old wounds to the surface. If you asked for career success, you might get a tempting offer that looks amazing, but actually pulls you away from your true purpose. If you asked for abundance, you might get an opportunity that feels perfect, but comes with a moral compromise. These tests aren't designed to destroy you. They're meant to make sure you're aligned with what you asked for. The universe wants to know, will you keep your integrity? Will you stay focused? Will you stay true to yourself, even when the easier path shows up? Let me tell you the story of Sophia. She asked the universe for the chance to build her own business and live in abundance. For years, she visualized her success. She worked on her skills. She grew. And just as she was beginning to gain clients and recognition, she got a job offer. It was from a huge company. The salary was massive. The benefits were amazing. The lifestyle, pure comfort. It seemed like the perfect answer to her request for abundance. But here's the catch. Accepting that job meant abandoning her personal dream. Sophia stood at the edge of her final test. And here's the key. This test always shows up when you're most tired. When you're filled with doubt. When it feels like your original dream is drifting away. Because that's the exact moment where the universe wants to know. Will you choose comfort? Or will you choose transformation? Sophia was terrified. But she said no to the job, even though she had no idea if she was making a huge mistake. And what happened? Right after saying no, bigger clients started to appear. Massive opportunities she had never even imagined. Why? Because by staying faithful to her dream, even when it hurt, Sophia passed her final test. And the universe rewarded her with something even better than what she had asked for. That's how it works. When you say no to what's easy to stay true to your path, the universe multiplies the rewards. But if you choose comfort out of fear, you stagnate. And your process slows down. That's the invisible law of the universe. It always demands coherence. It always demands truth. Now let's talk about something no one tells you clearly. Asking the universe is often uncomfortable for everyone else. In fact, many times, it's extremely uncomfortable. Because when your energy starts to shift, when you begin to vibrate at a different frequency, you automatically start to disturb the people who benefited from your previous version. The people around you won't always understand your process. They'll say you're crazy, that you're being selfish, that you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. You are changing. And that deeply unsettles anyone who isn't ready to grow with you. Asking the universe for something also means accepting that not everyone can come with you on your new path. It means understanding that sometimes, to rise, you must release those who refuse to fly. And here comes a powerful secret. If you want to manifest something big, you must be willing to walk alone, at least for a while. You must be willing to hear criticism, doubt, and judgment, without losing your focus. Because your vision is yours. Your desire is yours. And no one else will ever fully understand its depth like you do. Expecting others to understand it, to validate it, is wasting your energy. Want another powerful story? Let me tell you about Lucas. Lucas dreamed of moving to another country to start a new life. A total reset. But everyone around him kept saying it was madness, that it was impossible, that he'd never make it. Lucas listened to that for years. And every time he got close to making it happen, he pulled back. Out of fear, out of guilt, out of the weight of other people's opinions. Until one day, he couldn't take it anymore. He realized that other people's judgment was too high a price to pay for his happiness. So Lucas made the decision. He moved, despite everyone's opposition. And what happened? In that new place, Lucas discovered an entirely different life. Deep friendships, incredible work opportunities, and most importantly, a profound sense of peace and purpose he'd never felt before. What was the lesson? Asking the universe means accepting temporary solitude and other people's judgment as part of the path to your happiness. Because in truth, asking for something from the universe is not just a wish. It's a declaration of independence. A bold decision to take absolute responsibility for your joy, without waiting for approval or applause. Now, here comes another uncomfortable truth. Everything you ask for, absolutely everything, has a price. But hold on. It's not a punishment. It's not karma. It's simply the law of energetic exchange. If you want abundance, you'll have to give effort, time, and dedication. If you want true love, you'll have to give vulnerability, trust, and commitment. If you want professional success, you'll have to give persistence, courage, and discipline. Nothing in this universe is free. Not because it's cruel, but because balance is the foundation of everything. The bigger the thing you ask for, the greater the commitment you'll need to make with yourself. And that, my friend, no one tells you. Because it's easier to sell you the idea that you can manifest anything just by thinking positively. But that's not how it works. Manifesting means deeply committing to the outcome you desire. It means paying the price. In work, in emotional effort, in personal growth. So here's a question you need to ask yourself every time you want something. Am I willing to pay the full price for this? If the answer is yes, then go ahead. You're ready to play. But if you hesitate, step back. Re-examine your intentions. Because asking without being willing to pay only leads to frustration and pain. Remember this always. Asking the universe for something big means making an absolute commitment to your own growth. Because in the end, that's what this is really about. Growing into the version of you who can sustain what you desire most. If you've made it this far, you already understand more than most people ever will about how to ask the universe for something. But there's still one last piece missing. Maybe the most essential of all. Something that very, very few people are truly ready to accept, until life forces them to see it. Here's the final, raw, and powerful truth. The universe always responds. Always. But it almost never responds in the way you imagined. Because life is not a catalog where you choose exactly how things will happen. Life is a complex, unpredictable adventure. Sometimes painful, but always deeply transformative. And what does that mean? That when you ask the universe for something, you have to accept deeply that you cannot control how it will arrive. Because trying to control every detail is exactly what blocks your manifestation. The real key. Ask clearly, then let go of how it should happen, and open yourself to the possibility that it will arrive in ways you never imagined. Let me tell you one last story. Irene spent years asking to meet the love of her life. She did everything right. Affirmations, visualizations, inner work. But she always imagined that person arriving a certain way. At a party, through mutual friends, a chance encounter at a cafe. Years passed. Nothing happened. Until one day, she gave up. Not because she lost hope, but because she realized she couldn't force how it would happen. She let go, not of the dream, but of her attachment to the form. And guess what? On a flight she almost didn't take, sitting next to a stranger she didn't expect to talk to, she met someone. And that person turned out to be exactly what she had been asking for. The universe responded the moment she surrendered control. And that's the final, sacred key. Let go of the how. Trust the unexpected. Love the unknown. Your path will never look exactly the way you imagined, but it might be so much better. Because asking the universe means collaborating with forces that you will never fully control. And that's okay. In fact, that's perfect. And now that you understand this essential truth, I want to take you even deeper. Let's talk about why that thing you've been asking for still hasn't arrived. The reason is simple, but brutal. Because you're not yet the person who can receive it. And that painful wait, it's not a punishment. It's actually a massive gift. Because while you're waiting, you're healing, you're growing, you're becoming the exact version of you who's finally ready to hold what you asked for. If the universe handed it to you right now, without that growth, you'd destroy it. Or worse, you destroy yourself in the process. That wait, no matter how uncomfortable, is how life protects you from yourself until you're truly, deeply ready. And when you understand this, something inside you shifts. You stop seeing manifestation as something to get fast and start seeing it as a sacred journey of self-discovery. You begin to appreciate every delay, every obstacle, every test, because you finally realize it's not about getting there quickly, it's about arriving prepared. So stop asking when will it come, and start asking, what do I still need to learn before I receive it? That one question will accelerate your process. Far more than any visualization, any ritual, or any affirmation ever could. And finally, here it is, the most powerful revelation of all. The one truth that sums up everything you've just heard. You are not asking the universe because you lack something. You are asking because it's already meant to be yours. Your desire is not a coincidence. It's not a whim. It's your future calling you. It's life reminding you of who you're meant to become. It's proof that this reality already exists, waiting for you to be ready to live it. Understand this with absolute clarity. Your desire is the confirmation of your potential. What you ask for is already yours, in some level of reality. Your job isn't to chase it. It's to align with it, to become the version of yourself who already has it. If you understand this and truly live it, you've unlocked everything, because now you'll live with power, with peace, and with unshakable confidence, knowing that everything will arrive exactly when it's meant to. Because manifestation is not about getting something external. It's about deeply remembering who you already are. And that is the greatest secret of all. This is the ultimate power of asking the universe. And now that you know, you can't go back. You now carry the sacred responsibility to live in alignment with this truth. Because it's no coincidence that you're here, right now, hearing this message. Whether you realize it or not, this is exactly what you asked for. Now the choice is yours. You can keep this message in your mind and forget it in a few hours. Or you can choose to live from this moment on, completely aligned with this truth. Because from this level of awareness, you can transform everything. And now you know what almost no one dares to say. Asking the universe is not cheap magic or superficial positive thinking. It is a sacred tool of absolute personal transformation. And the question now is simple and direct. Are you ready to claim your true power? Are you ready to live the life you truly deserve? If the answer is yes, the universe has already heard you. And from this moment forward, everything will change. There's no turning back. The decision is yours. And the transformation begins right now. This was exactly what no one ever told you about how to ask the universe. And now, you know it all.